Yes, sir! Welcome to Under the Hood Sports. I'm your host with the most, Johnny Hill. Hey, man, say, man. And I got one of my good friends on the show today. And it's a disclaimer for everybody. We normally go into sports, but we're going to dive deep right now. We're going to get into some real serious things. And we're going to tell Tatyana's story. Shout out to Tatyana White for coming on the show. Hey, Tatyana, we're going to get into her story, and we also is just going to get into why she wanted to be a journalist. We're going to talk about NABJ, how me and her got connected, her goals, you know what I'm saying? Also, some deep stuff that she wants to get out, and we also is talking about her platform and her brand. Tatyana, how you doing today? Thank you for coming on Under the Hood Sports.
Thank you for having me. I'm doing pretty good. Just trying to apply for jobs. I just graduated with my master's in mass communication from the University of Florida. So just trying to secure a job at this point. So
For sure. Tatyana, first of all, thank you for coming on the show. For a quick background story, me and Tatyana, we got connected at NABJ. For people who don't know, that's National Association of Black Journalists, and that is where we all gather up and join together and really connect, network, and do all that amazing, great things like that. And Tatyana actually stayed at the same hotel we did, and I did, and we were talking for a minute. And it was just a great conversation. She real great people, and I always love great people. And Tatyana, go ahead. Let's dive deep. How was your NABJ experience? That was your first one?
yes, it was my first one. I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely kind of nervous because I've never been on like a plane without the help of my parents. And so I was like, I'm doing this by myself. I don't want to miss the plane. I don't want anything to happen, but it was fine. I ended up sleeping during my flight to Chicago and back to Florida. So it ended up being fine. And I was able to connect with my chapter of NABJ. Like it was my first time kind of meeting those girls and stuff. And so we all stayed together in the same hotel, and it was really nice. And just like learning to do like the train system, and like I just felt very adultish in that moment. So but just meeting and connecting with people and just like the opportunities that I had, like it truly was just needed. I had a very rough summer, so it was definitely like a breath of fresh air. And just getting myself out there and just like my first real like professional adult experience, and I really enjoyed it. And it was surreal as well, just being surrounded around other like young and older Black journalists. That was the most like Black journalists I've ever been around because I went to a PWI. So yeah, it was great. How was your experience? I mean, I know this wasn't your first one, but
I would say my experience was very good. Cause I love always meeting cool people, Tatyana. Like I really do love that. That's also is it's a great networking opportunity. We all know that, but just meet other young journalists like me and yourself. It's very encouraging. I really love seeing some people like you. I have my boy Teron. He's at Syracuse. Meeting him, a guy named Dahani. He's from Syracuse. Meeting a lot of cool different people like Kai, like he's from Syracuse. Like a whole networking of young people in the game, and it was good. Like compared to last year, it was in Alabama. I would say it's better because it's in Chicago. I never been, so
yeah, me either.
You had the pizza, right? You had the pizza.
Yes, I did. It was
okay,
so good.
Real.
So my thing is,
be real with me now. How was that pizza? Dive deep, like quick.
No, it was good, but it was so embarrassing. I'll have to show you a picture. So I was so hungry because we went like the first day we got there. And so I was so hungry because I barely like ate that day. And so everybody else at the pizza place, they got like a personal size. So I'm like, no, like I'm gonna get like a medium, thinking it's just gonna be like your typical medium. It was huge, and I looked so greedy because it was like everybody else had like this small little like four slices, and then it's like this humongous pizza, and like I pretty much ate off of that pizza for like my whole time at the NABJ. But it was good. It's just like yes.
What pizza place
I
you went
tried
to?
ramen for the first time there, so
Yeah, yeah. What pizza place did you go to?
oh, that is a great question. I have no
I
idea,
went
but I
to
think
start with a G,
it was like the French. It's like a
Giordano's or
franchise
something like
there.
that.
I
I went
think
to
like they have
that one.
multiple. They have multiple of the one I went to, so it was like a franchise, I guess, in Chicago.
You probably went to the same one. I think it was Giordano's. That's where I went to.
Yeah,
And
I
it's like
think.
multiple of them. So like that's what
Yeah, that's probably the one. And it had like the red like lettering.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yes,
you
that's
went to
the one.
for sure. Okay, Tatiana, let's what would you say was the best thing about NABJ? Also, what would you have done different, and what are you looking for the next time you go?
So I guess like one of my favorite parts was like getting to meet people and all the networking that I got to do. I didn't know what to expect. And I'm like very much a planner, so I like once we had like the little NABJ app, I was trying to kind of plan my days. Which the app was extremely helpful. I was so glad they had that because it helped me. But yeah, I think like networking was the best part, especially like the different little like parties and like receptions and stuff that they had and stuff. And then also just like the different workshops and like having Stephen A. Smith come, like that was probably a highlight for sure. And like my dad like watching it and sending me a picture of him watching the show with Stephen A. Smith, and then like sending he saw me in the audience and stuff. So that was like pretty cool, such a unique experience that I'll never forget. Something that I wish I had did differently. I wish I would have taken advantage more, I guess, of going to the career fair. When I went to the career fair, my idea of it was like the one in college, like at the University of Florida, the career fair, you walk up to the different tables and you can talk with recruiters. But like at the NAPJ career fair, you had to make appointments and stuff. And I guess that was a little intimidating because that wasn't, I guess, what I thought it would be. But I did end up going to quite a few and made some good connections, but I wish I would have did more of those. But now I know for the future. And I guess what I'm looking forward to the most next year is experiencing a new city and state. I've never been to Cleveland, Ohio, so I'm really excited about that and exploring a new city and now being prepared and less anxious because I know what to expect this time. So, and getting to reunite with people because I have friends now going into it. So,
Yeah, for sure. I would say, yeah, man. So my first time going to the career fair, I wasn't. I was excited. Like I was excited because I really wanted to meet with everybody. Like really put myself out there. To me, it's like life. You know what I'm saying? You get a lot of no's. You get a lot of critique on your work, but it's all
yes.
healthy. So like I like the career fair. And you're gonna do just fine. Like next time. Like that's just like experience.
Thank you. Yes. And I knew going into it, I was going to get a lot of critiques on my reel because I didn't have like as much on air stuff that I probably needed. But at least I had something, at least I didn't go in without it. Cause I know like my first UF career fair, I went in without like a reel and they were like, you want to be on air, you want to be a reporter, but you don't have a reel. So I was like, at least I went to the NABJ with a reel. So that's a start.
For sure, and yeah, that's a start, and that's great. Let's transition, Tatiana, because NABJ, great thing. What are you, if you can list 3 goals you do have for yourself with going to the next year in NABJ in Cleveland? What 3 goals you got for yourself?
That's a great question. I guess the 3 goals I have for myself is to make more connections and actually stay connected with the people, because sometimes like I'll have so many people that I'll meet and I'll add them on LinkedIn or on Instagram and stuff, but I don't really, I guess, keep up with them as much as I should, or like, messaging them and reaching out and checking in, like actually, like, I guess, nourishing those connections. So, like, connecting with more people, but nourishing them and like connecting with them. So then when we meet at the next NABJ, like, I actually really know them and I'm like up to date with their life and they're up to date with mine and stuff. I think the second one would be not putting like too much pressure on myself. That would be a goal, because going into the one in Chicago, like my schedule I created, I slam packed my entire days that I was just exhausted. And there were times where I didn't have moments to just like decompress and process and prepare for the next day. So trying to, I guess, make my schedule better and not pressuring myself to feel like I have to do every single thing that is there. But still, of course, taking advantage of all the opportunities. And then three, definitely putting myself out there more. I think there were times where I crawled back into my shell and got nervous when it came to networking. Like there were times at the receptions where like everybody was talking to someone and then I was just kind of standing to myself, and it was because I was nervous, because I was like, do I just walk up to people? Are they going to be receptive to that? Or are they, how are they going to feel? So just like being more just open to going up to people and being like, hi, I'm Tatyana, like where are you from? And like just being a little more like social in that aspect. So those are kind of like my three goals. And then if a job or some type of career opportunity or whatever happens, if I don't already have one, that would be really nice to get there too. So
For sure, and you will get it. And like, you work extremely hard, so I'm not typically worried about you. Who knows? Hey, by the time this interview or by the time next year, you most likely will have a job, because just the dedication and work you put in. So Tatyana, let's dive deep into it. Like I wanted to be a journalist because I really love stories, especially when it comes to sports. I always grew up loving, like, knowing how a guy got from point A to point B to point C into retirement. Or I just always was watching ESPN or 30 for 30, like, don't really inspire me to become a journalist. So what inspired you? Like, what got you into being a journalist? Because you got your master's, you done all this great stuff. What really inspired you to be a journalist?
yeah, so I always tell people that like journalism was always in my life in these little pieces and I didn't realize it until later. It was always like those little like I forgot exactly what it's called, but some people call it like the invisible string theory or something, where usually they use it for people like when you're in the same room as someone and you guys don't know each other and you don't realize later on in life you guys are actually going to end up being a very important part of each other's life. Yeah. So I think in that sense, like I have that with journalism, because in 8th grade I was like the sports anchor for our little like school news in middle school and stuff, and I guess I just never knew like it was called journalism, but I knew I loved stuff like that. And for the longest I thought I was going to maybe be a teacher because my mom is a teacher and stuff. So but I knew that wasn't really my passion. It was more so following my mom's footsteps. But then I think what really led me to journalism was finally when I was in high school, I became a teen attorney for the local teen court. And so I would represent like real teens and stuff, and not determine if they go to jail or anything, but like determining how many volunteer hours they have to do and any like sanctions they would have to do in the community. And I really loved, like, that was my opportunity to advocate for people, share their story, and just things like that. And so I knew I obviously did not want to go into law. That was something that I knew for sure I did not want to do. But I loved like writing. That was like my therapy. I loved sharing people's stories. I loved advocating for people. And so as I researched that more, I realized journalism was really that. And then I did creative writing my senior year of high school, and that really sealed it for me. I was like, I really love like the writing, storytelling, just getting to express myself. So journalism was all of those things. So yeah.
Sure, I completely agree, and I love the game of journalism. It's so crazy, like just loving that and loving sports. Like it made me start my own brand. Matter of fact, speaking of brand, you have your own brand. You have your own thing you're doing. Go ahead, tell the audience.
Yes, so I have a podcast called Talks with Tatyana.
Okay.
I
I like that. That's smooth.
I started it in June 2020. My dad's two best friends, they had a podcast called Talk of Brothers, and they asked me if I wanted to start a podcast, and they would kind of help me since they've already, been in the game. And they were like, we know you're in journalism. We would love to help you start up your podcast. And I was like, okay. And it was in the works for a couple of months because I was just like, what am I going to talk about? And I knew I wanted to talk about like Gen Z topics. So things like, how to take care of yourself and have self-care, like things that like Gen Z does, and like how Gen Z really cares about breaking generational cycles and things like that. So I always try to do different topics like that, and also focus on current events. That like mostly kind of entertainment, but also sometimes that are like, more news kind of current events and stuff. And just always kind of sharing my personal story and giving inspiration to people. That's what I really loved with the podcast, is sharing my story and providing inspiration, because I know sometimes being in Gen Z and growing up in the times today, being a young adult, it can be a lot more difficult than it used to be. So I know like that's what I wanted my podcast to be, was just something where all of us young folks can come together and congregate and relate to different topics and stuff. And I haven't posted in about a year because in grad school life got rough. But I would love to.
You don't have to explain. I know it would.
I would love to get it back going at some point. So
yeah, we need that. The world needs that. And also, like some of the topics you were telling me about, I would love to also be a part of it, because that's some great stuff you're doing. Tatyana, now we talked about some good stuff, but let's dive a little deeper into some deeper type of topics, and I just want to give you the floor and just tell me about what happened to you, what happened to your family, the things you and your family going through. You don't have to go too deep, but this is Under the Hood Sports. No matter if it's sports or not, we still do our job and go underneath the hood and really want to get the story, and we want to share a story. So Tatyana, I'm gonna go ahead and let you have the floor, and just go ahead and tell the audience about what you're going through, what your family going through, because they need to know.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for allowing me to share it on your platform. So in June, I found out that my older sister, who lived in South Carolina, a lot of my extended family and stuff lives in South Carolina, but she was 7.5 months pregnant with her daughter, her first daughter. She already had a son, my nephew, and she was unfortunately murdered by her husband. And it was definitely very unexpected news for us to get. It was very hard. It still is very hard. And so October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so I want to definitely spend October just advocating for my sister and my unborn niece and honoring their lives. Because my sister, Shan, she was such a wonderful light. And my niece, Tegan, I know she would have been amazing. And with my sister raising her, she would have been a beautiful and amazing young woman, I know for sure. But I 100% want to honor them. through this month and just throughout the rest of the year. And so I would definitely encourage you, if you can go to like a domestic violence awareness walk or even just do like some research on it. And I know some things that I've done since their passing is when I was moving out of my college apartment, when I graduated, I donated to a domestic violence like shelter for women who needed like clothes, and they were at a shelter and stuff, healing and hiding and things like that. So it's definitely been difficult, but our family has been getting through it. I will say God is amazing. I don't think I would be here talking about this as like strongly as I am without him. And definitely I've learned that, you know, it is okay to get like modern medicine, like, you know, for anxiety through anything that you're going through, because that has also been helpful in going to therapy and stuff. I would encourage you to just get involved in different things, and this has been a difficult journey, but I know for sure that we'll be able to get through it. And I pray that my nephew, once he gets older to understand what has happened and stuff, that he'll be able to move forward and still be a good person. But I know he'll be great and he'll thrive, and we'll nourish him, and he is a ball of energy and full of light and love. So, but yeah, definitely this has been a crazy time. It's definitely still very surreal. And speaking of journalism, I tell a lot of people when I tell this story that it's just so weird being in the journalism field and then like having to be on the opposite of that when news reporters and stuff were wanting to interview us, because obviously this became a kind of big story where they were in South Carolina. So it was just crazy being on that opposite side, and it just was like an almost like an outer body experience of like, this is really happening. So yeah.
And man, like you said, Tatyana, prayers are with you and your family, and that's just a sad case and a sad thing that is going on. But let's transition, Tatyana. Me and Tatyana, we are doing new thing on Under the Hood Sports. Tatyana, what is the name of the thing me and you about to start doing?
So we are about to start doing a segment or a little show called Behind the Whistle. And it is going to be about coach-player team dynamics. It's a little bit of research I did when I was in the sports communication class, and it was really fun doing it. It was a very unique perspective of sports that I never thought of. And it's just talking about like the dynamics between coach, players, and teams. And so how pretty much like I don't know how to describe it, like a effect, like a domino effect, I guess. Domino. Yeah, like a domino.
Yeah, like a domino effect.
You know, based on how a coach treats players, that kind of can affect how they are as teammates and stuff. Like it all coincides together. So we're gonna do different things surrounding coach-player team dynamics, and it's very fitting with it being, you know, college football season, NFL football season, and then we'll transition into like basketball season and stuff.
Oh, we got so many dynamics we can go to. Hey, we're doing it the following Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. It'll be 9 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock Pacific Time. So be on the lookout for that. Tatyana, thank you for coming on. Also, Tatyana, before we always leave the show, we do 3 goals. What are 3 of your goals you got for yourself? It's in life in general. 3 short goals. Go ahead, give it to us, Tatyana.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. I like how you end it like that. So I guess my 3 goals would be So I want to get a job. Definitely big goal for this year. Before 2024 ends, I am hoping to have a job. So my second goal would definitely be to continue growing in myself. I know that's kind of generic, but I feel like I got so consumed in this last year with like grief and then also with grad school. So I feel like I kind of just lost myself in a sense. So I want another goal for me in the next couple of months is just to really do more self-care and like pouring into myself more and like things like that. And then my third goal would be I want to get more in my like Christian biblical life. I feel like I was definitely on a roll with that where I was like going to Sunday service, Wednesday service, and things like that. But I want to be able to do more like actually reading deeper into the Bible and understanding it more and journaling, like devotionals and things like that. Because I really do want to get back and more connected with that. So, yeah.
And I love them goals, and continue to keep God first. Everything gonna be smooth. I'm telling you, you're gonna get a job. All this stuff gonna work out.
Yeah.
But this is Johnny. That's Tatyana. Be on the lookout for our new segment called Behind the Whistle. It's gonna be amazing. Hey, keep it right here on Under the Hood Sports. Also go follow Tatyana on everything she's doing. This will be a co-collaboration. And yeah, so be on the lookout for her stuff as well. She's doing great work. And we are out of here.